Hello YouTube, here we are once again. Strange thing happened yesterday. I went on to a train journey because I'd been offered a painting and decorating job. So I set off to a place called Richmond, and when I got there I was sat there about an hour. Two police officers went past us. One of them came over, that was in full uniform. One of them came over to me and said, "Are you begging?" The other one then followed up and just stood behind the first police officer. I told them I wasn't begging and that I was waiting for somebody, and in actual fact I was in the middle of writing a text. Turned the phone round so they could actually read the text and said, you know, come on, read it. They refused to do that, and they said if they come back and I'm still sat there, then will charge me with begging. About an hour after that, two plainclothes police officers came out and straight away said, "Hello Andy, how are you doing? What you sat here for?" I told him I was waiting for a lift and that he should be here shortly. Due to miscommunication, they're not expecting me here at this time. I'm supposed to be here in the morning. And then I realised that there were two police officers that were actually in the kettle that I was in on the 9th of May, which I found a bit strange and a bit threatening, to be honest with you. When they pulled out their badges, they just basically flashed them at me, so I couldn't even have a chance to take their names. Now this chance meeting, I'd call it, was strange enough, and then literally 2 minutes later another police officer on his own without the other two police officers came around the corner, also undercover, and said to me, "Hello Truth Machine." He didn't call me by my name, he called me Truth Machine, as if to almost say to me in a roundabout way, "We're watching you, we know about what you're putting out there on YouTube." And you know, I found it quite threatening. Anyway, what I've done, I'm not exactly sure on how to do it or how to go about it, but I do know ex-police officer called Michael who's going to give me some information on how to go about seizing the CCTV footage from the camera of outside the tube station, and also I'd like to try and seize the footage from the transport underground transport, whatever it's called. So right, just to let the general public know, this is why I'm filming this, so you two can learn on how to seize footage to prove your innocence or your harassment by police officers. Right, if I could just get hold of you, Michael. How you doing, mate?
How you doing, Andy?
Yeah, fine. Right, so what's the crack on this? I need to seize the CCTV footage. How do I go about it with the council and with the transport police?
Right, what you do, anybody who wants to get information, including CCTV footage, out of either a government department or a private company,
yeah,
you submit, you write a letter to whoever it is, and you head it up, subject access request under Section 7, Data Protection Act 1998. Now what that piece of legislation does, it gives you the right to ask for copies of all written, electronic and CCTV footage and data that organisation holds on you. They can charge for it. The maximum they're allowed to charge you is £10.
Right.
And what you do is simply write a letter, send it to them. Once they get that letter, they've got 40 days to comply with it. If they don't, then you contact the Information Commissioner's office. They will normally say, give them a further 7 to 10 days. If they haven't complied in that extra 7 to 10 days, then you go back to the Information Commissioner and they then start enforcement action. Now,
right,
they have the power to fine anyone who does not comply with any aspect of data protection up to £500,000.
Sorry, could you slow down a bit there? Under the Data Protection Act, sorry.
Yeah.
You've gone a bit too
Data
fast.
Protection Act 1998.
Yeah. Right, go on then.
Yeah, so that's what you need to do. With the footage of where you're out in the street, you apply to your local authority. It's usually the data controller you apply to. If it's a railway station, you apply to the railway company is responsible for managing it. If they say no, that it doesn't belong to us, it belongs to Network Rail, I would say write to both of them. Contact them first, find out who is actually responsible, and then send your subject access request to them.
Right.
Underground railway systems, it's normally in London. It'll be the Transport for London.
Right.
If it's in another part, if it's in another part of the country, it'll be the Passenger Transport Executive that's responsible for that area. And they should, they would be the data control. They're the ones you get the CCTV footage from.
Right. Now, going on to I feel harassed by the police now, because it's actually, we've had a personal encounter in a kettle, and now all of a sudden they're taking it upon themselves, in my book, to maybe, I don't know, rub it in, give me a, I don't know, I found it threatening anyway that they came and the police officer called me Truth Machine rather than by my name. You know, the one that appeared on his own. I mean, why didn't all three of them appear together? You know what I mean? It was like two of them came, and then a couple of minutes later another one appeared, and all three of them were in the kettle, which makes it, like I say, feel quite threatening. So I want to know whether they've actually followed me under police. I don't know, the transport police, aren't they? You know, why would they know about my website, for instance, the Truth Machine? Why would he want to, you know, sort of put that to me, hello Truth Machine, rather than hello Andy? I mean, I give the police my name as Andy because they asked me outside number 10 Downing Street, but as far as anybody knowing about what I personally do in my personal time is another matter, isn't it? I mean, what, you know, with me feeling harassed, I mean, what can I do about that?
Yeah,
I mean, what can the police be charged for harassing me, and in what law would that come under?
Yeah, the police forces in England and Wales share intelligence with each other, and they also share intelligence with other law enforcement agencies. So they can get that from almost anywhere. They could have got it from almost anywhere.
Yeah.
Police officers these days tend to think they're beyond the law, they can do what they like. I mean, when I was a copper, you had to operate within the law, and that still applies today.
Yeah.
If they're going to come up to you and start asking you questions, they've got to have what's known as reasonable cause or lawful reason. Now, if they haven't got that, then they're acting outside the law or coming very near to the edges of the law.
Yeah.
Now, on the 13th of April this year, a piece of legislation called the Criminal Justice and Courts Act 2015 came into force. Now, Section 26 of that Act.
Sorry, Section 26. Yeah.
Section 26.
Yeah.
That deals specifically with corrupt and improper exercise of police powers and privileges. Now, in the incident you highlighted where you were approached by two and then by another one,
Yeah.
who clearly didn't like it because obviously you said something they didn't like,
Yeah.
that would almost certainly amount to improper exercise of police powers, trying to question somebody.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
basically what they said to me, part of the conversation was, it wasn't very nice things you said about us on the video recording that I made of them when the police started attacking the protesters, and I was calling them pigs, black bastards, scum, scabs, you know, every name I could think of, you know, to do with you know, just terminologies from all around the country sort of thing, you know. I kind of called them everything. I mean, I don't know whether they took umbrance to the fact that I called them black bastards as well as scum, pigs and everything else that I called them that day, but you know, just to clear that up to any police that think I'm a racist, black bastards is more of a northern saying for police officers when they all dress in black with their riot gear on, and that's why we call them black bastards. That's just the lingo that the northern people use, eh? Whereas, you know, anywhere else in the country they've got different names for police officers, the same as, you know. And with me travelling around the country, I tried to use every single name that I've learned through my travels, like of so everybody kind of understands where I'm coming from with that. But anyway, yeah, going back to the police officer's attitude with you didn't call us very nice names was more, to me, I took as a personal dig. It's like he was using police resources to come and have a personal dig at me, and the same with the other two police officers as well. I mean, obviously the first police officers that went past us that had uniform on, they were just doing their job, and that's, doing their job's another thing. That's what the SS said. But anyway, getting off the subject a bit. Yeah, so have I got a case, do you think, for chasing up the fact that they're now harassing me because of the way they spoke to me and what they actually said?
Well, I think a lot of people who were tuned into alternative media on the day of that demonstration in central London, they saw what was actually going on, and I mean, it stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Some of the violence was initiated by the police, and it was being continued by the police. What the BBC showed was a complete travesty. They misedited it to give a completely false impression. So, I mean, if you are showing what is actually happening and you're commenting, because if what they've done is outside the law.
Yeah, can I just
what do they expect?
Sorry, can I just touch on the BBC, right? What I noticed was, from my footage, right, what happened was the police had actually snatched a couple of people first. As the group was walking away from 10 Downing Street, that's when they started snatching people. And they snatched a woman first and dragged her off, and that is when people started coming back, because they could see that the whole crowd wasn't moving with them, they were turning back. Obviously, I was shouting quite a lot at what I was seeing. I was shocked. Do you know what I mean? People were just calmly walking away, and all of a sudden the police just come piling out and started attacking people, and grabbing people and drawing people in when they wasn't actually doing anything but arguing with the police, and that's when the gate started being pulled. But the BBC footage, it started off with people chucking the smoke bombs and things like that, and then it ended in this lady getting dragged out of the crowd, where in actual fact the lady in the crowd got dragged out first, and that's why people started getting angry. Then the police started hitting people after people were walking away as this was happening, and then sort of realised what happened and come steaming back to support the people that were being attacked by the police. And that just escalated, where the police then all of a sudden started appearing in riot gear and taking over the front line, and then they split the group in half, which is their technique, and then they split us into another half and another half until there was just like loads of pockets of people surrounded by police, and then slowly but surely they moved each group apart, and then eventually released them, 2 by 2, through a cordon of police officers at the end. And I'd just like to add to this, the recording that I did of the final bit where they release us and film us as we walk down a cordon of police officers, I keep trying to put that on my YouTube, and it keeps getting taken down. I don't know why that is, but they just won't let me put it up for some reason. I don't know whether I've got certain police officers in there that are not allowed to be shown their identification, and YouTube are trying to cover it over or something. I'm not sure, but it makes me suspicious that YouTube won't let me upload it anyway, knowing that I'm being monitored. Yeah.
But looking at that footage where the police just suddenly parking, no reason whatsoever, and started attacking people. I mean, that's the sort of thing that Section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act sets out to clamp down on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, exposing the police as being corrupt or improperly exercising their powers.
I wouldn't say they're corrupt. I'd go with the second. Yeah. I'd go with the second. Sorry, that they're just simply not trained in the right way. But go on. Sorry.
Well, I mean, what I saw on that footage, that was unprovoked, and it looked to me as if it was premeditated. The police had deliberately, that's the impression I get, I might add, The impression I got is that they had deliberately waited until they were walking away and then they started on them.
Yeah.
That is, that has got to come down from the top, from the senior officers.
Yeah.
Those senior officers have to be held to account for that. For junior officers down at the bottom of the rank of the police, the constables and the sergeants, to come up to a member of the public like yourself and start whinging because they got called a few names they didn't like. My answer to them is grow some backbone. You did something you shouldn't have done. You got caught on film. You've got to answer for that.
Yeah.
So leave people alone. But that sounds like harassment to me. And I would say follow it through professional standards and if necessary to the IPCC, citing Section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's there. It's there to be used when the circumstances justify it. And the IPCC have got that as a tool, should they need to use it, and say, right, if a police officer is called up in front of them, and they find that there has been misconduct or misuse of police powers and privileges, they can say, right, we are going to proceed against you in the courts under Section 26.
Yeah.
A lot of police officers who have been shown copies of that legislation are absolutely...
Sorry, you broke up there. You broke up there, Michael. Can you say that again?
Serving officers who've been shown a copy of Section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act.
Yeah.
3 constables went white as a sheet when they read it. The sergeant nearly fell off his chair, and by the look of an inspector's face, it looked as if he'd messed himself. Yes, they have had no training in it at all.
Yeah.
And when they see this in black and white, they say, where did you get this from? And you show them what it's got printed at the bottom, and it's a government website.
Yeah.
But also, it clamps down on malpractice.
Yeah.
They're getting scared.
Yeah.
Especially when they see what the penalty is, a fine, 14 years in prison, or both.
Yeah.
They're scared. And hopefully, this will clamp down on a lot of the malpractice we see.
Yeah, brilliant.
And particularly what you had in your experience.
Yeah.
That sort of behaviour has to stop. They can't carry on doing it. They've gotten away with it. Now the bar has been brought down on them. They want to behave like that. They know what they've got coming to them. So they can't say, oh, I didn't know. Because one excuse they try and use is, oh, well, I can't be expected to know every statute. Rubbish. Ignorance of the law is not defence.
Yeah.
Never was in my day as a policeman, and it still isn't.
Yep. Right, thank you for that, Michaal. Let's hope we can get the CCTV footage so we can identify these police officers, because at the time, like I say, I did not even have a chance to think to get my camera out so I could get them ID'd, and they flashed their ID at me, you know, because they obviously didn't want me to know who they were as police officers. So anyway, thank you for that, and let's hope we can move forward on this once we've got the CCTV footage, eh? Alright, over and out YouTube. Hope that answers some questions. Section 26 is the tool to help us. Easy life.